Kokichi? I asked a little hesitant, because, one, I was breaking silence, and two, I didn't know if he wants to talk right now. Saihara-Chan? Kokichi said, turning around on me and looking me in the eyes. Do you want to talk about what happened? I asked, moving his hair out of his face. He started looking nervous when he said that. Did I say something wrong? Am I being too nosy? Well, I'm scared you will... He paused, putting his head down. What is he scared about? What kind of nightmare did he have? Think less of me, he finished finally. Think less of him. Why would I think less of you? I asked in a tone that could have been taken as accusing, but in actuality, I was confused and worried. Because I'm so weak. You must think I'm weak for not being strong enough to fight this, he said, starting to cry. I let him cry while slowly pulling him closer to me until he was crying into my chest. My heart hurts every time he says things like that. Why can't he see how great he is? Why can't he see that nothing would change how I look at him? Kokichi, I don't think that you're weak. If anything, I think you're so strong for what you've gone through. I'm happy that you are strong because I have you now because you stayed alive through all of this, I said, holding his face in my hands with a smile. He looked at me and tried to pull away, but I pulled him into a kiss. I slowly pulled away after a moment and nuzzled my head into his neck. Saihara, he asked, shuddering from my touch before I cut him off, not wanting him to try to tell me how terrible he is. I don't want him saying things like that about himself when it's just a complete and total lie. Kokichi, you mean a lot to me and you are strong for making it this far. I highly doubt I would be able to be as strong as you. But Saihara-Chan... He started again, but I kept talking. I want you to know for a fact I will never think less of you. No matter what, I want to stay by your side and make sure you're okay. I want you to be able to talk to me when you're scared, confused, bored, lonely, or just want to talk. You can tell me anything, I said, placing a gentle kiss on his neck, causing him to shiver and rest his head on top of mine. He didn't say anything for a moment, causing my feeling of anxiety to slowly become more apparent. I was about to move to see his face, only to be stopped by his arms around my shoulders. Koki, I started, soon interrupted by Kokichi's voice. Saihara-Chan, I want to thank you for being by my side for as long as you have. And I want you to know that I'm happy that we can have moments like this, but I want you to know that I do trust you and I want to talk about what happened. Kokichi said with a shaky breath. I slowly lifted my head to look at his face. He looked nervous. I tried to give him a reassuring smile to tell him it was okay to tell me. I hoped that made him feel more at ease. I took in a shaky breath. I have to start somewhere. When I was younger, one of my trusted friends told me that when you have something that is too painful to have on your shoulders, it's better to tell someone about it. I want Saihara-Chan to know that I trust him. So for me and him, I'm going to tell him how I'm feeling. The total truth, no lies. I closed my eyes, taking another deep breath before looking back at Saihara. This is it. If you couldn't tell, I'm not a big fan of sleeping, because ever since I was a little kid, I would have nightmares, and my parents... I paused. Maybe it's best not to mention them now. Weren't always there for me, so I've always had to deal with them on my own. And whenever I complained to anyone, they would call me weak for not being able to deal with it on my own. So I'll try my best to tell you. I took in another breath and felt Saihara squeeze my hand. I didn't notice I was shaking until I felt him hold my hand tighter. I let out another shaky breath before continuing. I have this person in my nightmares. I looked in his eyes and could tell he was hanging on my every word. At least he is listening to me. Most people don't even try to. He looks exactly like me, but he isn't. He always tells me how useless I am and how I shouldn't deserve any of this. I should be dead. I paused, letting some tears fell out of my eyes. Saihara-Chan wiped my eyes and gave me a supportive smile. And he's also in my hallucinations. I've always had problems with hearing and seeing things that aren't there. I used to be better at hiding it, but sometimes it's hard. I wanted to thank you for last night. Being with another person helps me not have them as bad. They are always so much worse when I'm alone. I hate being alone. I'm always alone. People have always left me alone. They always abandon me. I said shakily, more tears falling down my face. I always wanted people to want to be around me, but I was never able to say the right things or act the right way. I can usually tell when people are lying, and when others would lie, I would call them out on it, making them hate me more. I was always so lonely, and I didn't like what was going on, so I started lying to myself. I told myself, this is okay, you're fine. They're just lying. Everyone is lying. I wasn't able to trust anyone anymore, making the feeling of loneliness grow, and because of this, the hallucinations and nightmares got so much worse. I said, looking down and letting out a few sobs before more and more came out. I cried for a few minutes while Saihara just held me and I shook in his arms. My eyes were burning and my throat was dry. I hate remembering. Sometimes it's easier to forget. I hate all of this. I just don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to have to keep causing people pain. I don't want to have to be a burden to Saihara-Chan. It's also hard because every time I see him, I just get reminded that I'm always alone and that no one will ever care about me. I said after studying my breathing. Saihara-Chan pulled me into his chest again and rubbed my back, making me relax and lean into the touch. Kokichi, I had no idea what was going on for so long. Sorry I wasn't there for you sooner. I'm sorry for all the things I said to you. He started to cry into my hair, clutching onto the back of my shirt. Saihara-Chan, you don't have to be sorry. I should have been more honest. It wasn't your fault for not noticing. It's mine for lying about it, I said, snuggling into his chest, silently begging him for more affection. I felt a little guilty about this, but the feeling vanished when I felt his hands on my back, moving up and down, gently moving across my sensitive skin. Shuddering and shivering, I leaned into him as close as I could, soon feeling his breathing on my hair. No, it's alright, Kokichi. You had every right to feel that way. I don't blame you one bit. I just wish I could have been there for you is all, Saihara said, putting his head into my hair, planting some gentle kisses on the top of my head. Well, you're here now, and that's all I need, I said, moving my hands onto his chest, loving every second of the touch he gave me. I'm glad, he said, holding me in his arms. Ding dong, bing bong. Oh? It's already 10 p.m.? Monofian asked as the monitor switched on. Yeah, you know what that means, Monotaro yelled. You guys have to get the fuck to bed, Monokuma yelled before the monitor shut off as quickly and abruptly as it came on. I guess it's already 10 p.m., Saihara said, moving his head up. Well, I guess we should get back to our rooms, I said, getting off of him and heading towards the door. Kokichi, wait, he said, coming beside me. Let's go together, he said, grabbing my hand and placing a kiss on it before we started to walk towards the dormitory. Alright, my beloved Saihara-Chan, I said, smiling, happy that this was the reality I was in. Not that I'm saying I'm happy I'm in a killing game or anything. I'm just happy that I get to be like this with my beloved Saihara-Chan.